So Lance, here we are, sunny Silverstone.
Right.
Things are looking bright.
Yeah.
I mean, you must be in a great place right now. The car, the RP20, the greatest car you've ever driven.
I am. Yeah. No, definitely. It's by far the best car, the best season that I've had in Formula One up to date. And you know, I gotta say, you know, well done to the whole team. You know, there was a lot of effort that went into this project during the course of last winter, and you know, because of all that hard work, we were able to turn up to Austria for the first race with a really strong package, and I think you know, it's only gotten better over the last couple of races. So I'm really enjoying it. It definitely puts a big smile on my face, you know, when I get behind the wheel, and a lot to look forward to for the rest of the season.
I mean, you must come into a race weekend now with such a spring in your step, knowing that you can be competitive, can legitimately be challenging for podiums. And I know you were probably a little bit disappointed not to translate that P3 in quali to a podium last weekend. Did you feel that that was all about strategy? Was anything left on the table?
Yeah, it's racing, you know, you win some, you lose some. I think there were a lot of factors to that race. It was the rain at the start, which mixed things up, and then after, I think like 35 laps into the race, we were expecting more rain, so it was very touch and go whether we should have pitted and tried to hold off Bottas or stay out and hope for more rain to come. But yeah, it's always kind of a toss of the coin on those decisions. So at the end of the day, I think we would have signed up for fourth coming into the weekend, and yeah, I mean, it's great that at a track like Hungary with a lot of corners, very technical, we had so much speed, and it was the case from FP1 onward. So yeah, fingers crossed we keep it up for this weekend and the rest of the season.
It should go really well here, I'm sure. More of that later, but does it take off any of the gloss that you are under protest? How do you handle that kind of criticism that this is a carbon copy of last year's Mercedes? Because the reality is that we all want to see the midfield challenging those top three, and that's exactly what you're doing. So why aren't more people celebrating that fact? I mean, I know internally in the paddock, people like Renault will always want to, you know, challenge it because it threatens their own progress. But how do you as a team talk about that, deal with it, particularly publicly?
I mean, it's part of the business, you know. Renault hold their beliefs of you know, how we could be cheating, but I'm confident that we have all the evidence to prove otherwise. So that's all I can say at the moment.
But you know, ultimately it is a success story because you've come from the brink. This team has been pulled back, galvanised, and actually it's always been a team that's punched above its weight in terms of its size and resource. To now be at the front of the grid, that is a real coup for the team, but also the sport in general.
It is. You know, it's been a great start to the season. The season's still very young. I expect the others to be there. I don't think it's done and dusted just yet, but definitely a great start to the season and a lot to look forward to.
And what about you as a person? You're kind of a bit under the radar. You keep yourself to yourself. You've got a nice little group of friends and a lot of family support away from the track. What else do you like getting up to? Do you ski? I know. What else? Bit of golf?
Yeah, I try and, you know, stay active. Formula One's taking up most of my time these days. Definitely will be up to Christmas, but I mean, yeah, I'm a pretty, I guess, low-key guy. You know, like the simple things in life. Good glass of wine every now and again. Some golf, bit of skiing. You know, hanging out with good friends. That's pretty much it. But you know, it's definitely been a great journey the last 4 years in Formula One. It's crazy to think it's already my 4th year. Time flies, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a it's been great, challenging for those challenging up at the front of the grid for a change. There was some difficult times in my Formula One career where it just didn't all work out, didn't come together, and so far this season, I've started to see that shift, and I think it's definitely brought a big love back for racing that I might have lost for a little while, and that's always fun.
Because certainly, if you talk to the team, your work ethic has never been in question. You absolutely apply yourself to every element of the sport and becoming better. But you're right. Up until now, it didn't seem to quite be clicking for you. So have you felt a shift? Not obviously, performance of the car is a big part of that. But what about you as a person? How do you feel different?
I guess it's been a good lockdown. Recharge the batteries, and I think I've had a great off season. Just kind of disconnecting from Formula One and come back with good spirits, and that's sport. You go through. It's like a roller coaster. You go through your highs and your lows. Right now, it's always gonna change. There's no getting around that. But I went through some rough patches, but just had a great result in Hungary, and I'm gonna try and keep up that momentum for the rest of the season.
So, what do you think the rough patches were down to? You just think things weren't just quite aligning for you?
I think a lot of it has to do with the car. I was in a pretty bad car for the most of my early F1 career, and then of course I had weaknesses that I had to work on. I was thrown into Formula One at a very young age, and it was a big step from Formula 3 for me at the time. I think the cars were like 15 seconds or 20 seconds faster than Formula 3 cars, so that was a big jump, and there was definitely a lot to learn. And I think it's a combination of those two things. It's there's definitely been improvements that I've had to make, but the car is a big factor in this sport, as I'm sure everyone is aware of. So this year to finally experience that and sense what it's like to be behind the wheel of a competitive car, it's really a game changer.
Tell us a bit about the family support that you have, because your mum and sister do, obviously your dad's at every race, but your sister and mum do come to it quite a few as well. How much does their support matter to you?
For sure. No, it's great. It's great that they're all on board with me. They've been there since day one. It's not just been my dad. My mom is right there cheering me on, and so is my sister. So yeah, I mean it's awesome that we get to ride the train together and enjoy this journey all together. I think without that support, I wouldn't be where I am today. At a very young age, it was thanks to my sister and my mother that cooperated with my dream, and without them, I wouldn't have been able to move to Europe and pursue my dreams as becoming a Formula One driver. So it's really thanks to them where I am today, because that love and support is everything to me, and it's great.
And what kind of father?
He's a good one. He's a hard-working father. He's been great with the team, and he's helped turn this team around in such an amazing way. And he's been very successful in many of his businesses, and I think it goes to show that he's great at putting people together, and he has a great vision at assembling a project, and that's thanks to him and thanks to everyone at the team for working hard all together to be where we are today. but at the same time, he's great at, you know, at distancing himself from, you know, from stepping on anyone's toes. You know, during the weekends, he gives me my space and lets me do my thing with the people, you know, that I'm working with the engineers, and yeah, so far so good.
I have no doubt that I could never work with my dad. Like, he could never be my
No,
boss.
there's some good chemistry. There's definitely you know, some ups and downs, just like everything. But ultimately, yeah, he's my number one fan, and you know, and we're a team. So we've ridden this roller coaster together, and we're still riding it. So yeah, I mean, that's it.
Do you know, it's an easy and in fact often lazy criticism to make of you that you're here just because of your dad, because actually a rich kid could just kick back on a yacht and do nothing with his life. The fact is you're prepared and want to work hard to succeed. So how do you deal with that criticism? Because certainly now the race results and qualifying results particularly, where you've done incredibly well so far this season, do go some way to silencing the critics. But do you need them to be silenced, or is it just water off a duck's back?
Well, there'll always be noise. There'll always be, you know, there'll always be people that, you know, will hold jealousy, and I think that's just part of it. It's understandable from where I come from that, you know, it's yeah, that there's people out there that talk down on me, but at the end of the day, I know the facts. You know, up to Formula One, I proved myself winning multiple championships, and I worked hard to get to where I am today. And no one can take that away from me. So yeah, it's part of the background noise. And you know, at the end of the day, what matters to me is the people that are close to me, and the people that see the real picture. The rest is really just background noise. So I try and stay in my own little bubble, and you know, keep my entourage close, and the rest is irrelevant in my eyes. And I do my talking on the track. That's all I can really do. Yeah.
So what talking, indeed shouting, can you do here on this track? Because it is an epic circuit, particularly for a car like yours at the moment. I bet you're just itching to get out there, aren't you?
I am. I'm very excited. It's a great track. You know, it's a track that I've enjoyed coming to over the last 3-4 years. So, yeah, I'm very excited to see what this car can do around here.
And what about for the rest of the season? What will you be happy with as a result in terms of the team's success and your own personal?
I mean, yeah, it's easy to get excited now. I think that's something, you know, we have to contain some of that excitement. It's a long season, a lot can happen. So I think it's important to take it race by race, and try and score the most points we can every weekend. Because it's still, you know, it's still a very competitive field out there. I think it's going to be it's always going to be track dependent, on, you know, who's going to be stronger, you know, some tracks and others. So we just got to keep our heads down and keep hustling.
And so much has been made about who your teammate's going to be next year, but it occurred to me that if it is Vettel, he could actually outperform his old team in a Racing Point next year. Because Elkin said,
Don't drag me into this, Natalie.
I'm not, okay. You actually don't have to say anything, but it could, I'm just a driver. Shut up, you know more than any of us. But Elkin said of the Ferrari, it probably isn't going to be competitive till 2022. Yeah. If you carry on this trajectory, who knows?
I'm not holding a crystal ball, so.
But listen, it's lovely to
Sight set on the weekend.
Yeah. It's great to talk to you. I know it's not always easy because media often sort of thrust the microphone under your nose and expect you just to open up. And I guarantee, you know, as with all drivers, you're going to be a bit guarded. But it is lovely to talk to you because we don't do it enough.
Likewise, Natalie.
Maybe we can do a round of golf. I mean, I'm terrible, but...
You don't have to convince me. I'll be there. Give me a time and place. I got to work on my swing. It's getting rusty.
Maybe I'll be your caddy. That might be safer.
We can make it work.
Okay, good.
All right.
Thanks, Lance.
Thanks, guys.
Good to
Okay,
see
thank
you.
you.